how did past life regression come into picture, and what exactly is past life regression, because you're a past life regression therapist too?
In fact, one of my first healing modalities after Reiki I learned was past life regression, because it started with my own personal sufferings in my life. And once you're younger, you're a child, you just live life happily. But once you get married and responsibilities show up, you just the problems start increasing, and something inside me, deep down inside me, there was a very innate intelligence that always told me that I did not come here to be a victim to all of these circumstances in my life. And I always had the power to create an alternate or a better reality. So going by that innate sense that I had within, I knew there's a better life ahead, and I just don't have to suffer what shows up. And that's what really excited me to learn past life.
Interesting. So because it has been mentioned, like past life, karma, reincarnation has been mentioned in so many cultures across the world. And in fact, even if we come to Hinduism, in Hindu culture, we have this thing called Jati Smara, which is actually, I think, past life memory, wherein people recall their past life experiences. So if you can take us to what exactly happens in past life regression and how does it help?
So when you understand the journey of the soul comes here to express itself in this container called life. And there are two primary purposes. One is the role purpose and the soul purpose. Now, in the role purpose, we carry the imprints of the soul of anything that's undone. If I look at it from the physics perspective or energy perspective, energy is meant to be in motion, right? So any unprocessed residual energy that got trapped with my name on it or my imprint on it has my karmic signature on it. And it is my responsibility now to come back and put it back into motion.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we come here with certain unprocessed energies, stuck energies. And our role is to now put that back into motion by reliving the same situations, but with a different choice and a different mindset. And that's exactly what karma is. If I can give you a very, very, very layman or a very silly example, let's assume in this lifetime, you and me are angry people and we're not even connected. But we get into a road rage and a fight, and out of the rage, maybe I kill you. Now, you died incomplete in this lifetime, and your soul carries that imprint, right, of you, me killing you. And now I'm entangled with you karmically. Now, your soul waits for a lifetime where you and I can come back, and you will have an opportunity in another lifetime to kill me.
Right.
It's only an opportunity.
Right.
But at that moment, you could function from awareness and forgive me and not kill me and free yourself from karmic bondage. Right? So that's the whole essence of karma. So we don't have to repeat patterns. Right. We always have a choice to break the cycle of karmic entanglement with more awareness and with more spiritual intelligence. However, because nobody explains this, we say, okay, now, we get into that constant loop and we just say that, okay, you give me shit, I give you shit. And we're just entangled in this whole thing. Our soul is carrying every single memory, and these memories are recorded in our DNA. And then they show up in our unconscious memories. So it's all stored within. Past life regression therapy is taking you through those memories so that you can bring them into your consciousness or your awareness so that you can process this differently and make different choices.
So it's more like making sense of that, why this is happening to me, or actually giving yourself a closure also, right?
Yeah, and also freeing yourself from the entanglement of suffering. Right? So if you gave me a black ball, I don't have to give you a black ball. I do have I understand that, okay, I have a black ball to give you, but I will choose to give you a white ball. So I free myself from that trap then.
Okay, so interesting, because I also wanted to ask that how much of a role does our emotion have in having those karmic imprints? One is that I did an action, and of course, what you give comes back to you. So it's already recorded and you will get that opportunity and you will face the consequence, right? One is, while I'm doing that action, if I feel guilty or if I have remorse, right? Does that kind of amplify what I'm going to get? Does that emotion also leave its imprint in my soul memory and that also get transferred?
So if you understand this 200%, let's say एक चोर जब चोरी करता है and he justifies it, right? That and he's not guilty, then he might not have to suffer any consequences as much as someone who's robbed something and they're feeling guilty about it. For them, it's instant. And that's why there are a lot of people on the planet who do bad and they're justifying what they're doing bad and it really doesn't come back to them in a certain paradigm.
Okay.
But currently, the consciousness on the planet is changing and this game is also changing. So, let's say about 20 years back, we were in the third dimension. So if somebody did wrong karma and they were not guilty about it, it would not come back to them. But currently the energy is more fluid and we are in the fifth dimensional energies. So you do bad and it's going to be instant. So the rules of the game are changing as the dimensions change.
Okay, I'm intrigued by the changing dimensions.
Yes,
if you
that's
can,
another.
give an insight.
So if you understand the energy on the planet, do you recognize there's something changing on the planet, right? And this is the change of a yuga, 26,000 years. After 26,000 years, the cycle changes.
Okay.
And what is a yuga or a new age, or age? It is where the central sun has his family of all the planets and they take 26,000 years to revolve around the central sun, the planets and the sun, right? And this also has been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, where scriptures very clearly. So this whole thing takes 26,000 years and we are on the onset of this transition right now, currently, right? And the entire paradigm is shifting from the third dimension energy to the fifth dimension energy.
So it's not linear, like it's not like third and fourth and fifth.
No, fourth is a transitional dimension. It's a layover.
Oh.
There's no, it's like a dark dimension. So in third dimension, we have life. And then in the fifth dimension, we have material life. But the fourth dimension is more of a transitional dimension. So and that's what the ascension process is all about.
So fifth dimension has different rules.
Absolutely. It's like playing Candy Crush and the game is the same, but something changes when you move on to a higher level. But the game is the same. So exactly. So even till date, people in the unaware state, third dimension is a very unaware dimension. So souls in the third dimension living in a state of unawareness, till date, they might murder, they might rob, and consequences may not come back to them because they're just okay doing it. But the whole idea is every soul has to move upward. So today they are unaware, but there will be a time where they will have to be aware and change their actions. So to answer your question, and the new souls that are coming in now are all 5D beings.
5D.
So why do you think parents are not conceiving? Right? Because souls are very, very clear. We don't want, because womb trauma bhi to hai. They're very clear. We want to go into wombs that are clean and clear. I have so many couples who come and they go through the womb healing process and their childhood healing process and then they conceive. A lot is going on the planet which we need to understand. A lot of changes. So the transition of the fifth dimension, what we are talking is the Mother Earth has integrated into 5D. Now we as a collective have to move towards 5D and that's why so much suffering is happening. Right? You could be in a 3D body in a 5D consciousness. That's the whole idea. Right? In a very simple context, fifth dimension is a crystalline dimension. 3D was a carbon-based dimension. The energy is changing. So even our bodies right now will change from carbon-based to crystalline. We are embodying more light. 5D is more light. And the whole goal is to become pure light.
So that means that in another 26 years...
26,000
26,000.
The next cycle. Then it will transition to the next.
So this happened now, like this 26,000 transition came now.
Yeah.
Like what a great time to live in, I would say.
It is one of the best times to live on this planet if we know what's going on. But if we don't know what's going on, it is one of the darkest times to be living here.
So going within is easy at this point of time because even the Earth as an environment is supporting
the outer environment is so
conducive.
And that's why these days if you see, every moon cycle, new moon and full moon, the energies are so fluid and people are going wobbly because it's an invitation to go within and explore your unhealed emotions so that you could transit to the fifth dimension. It actually depends on which dimension you're in, what you're feeling, but your emotions definitely amplifies what comes back to you.
Okay. Also, one thing, a very interesting thing that you spoke about right before we started the podcast, that 3% of our DNA is genetic and only 5% is karmic. And still, I think we give so much of significance to that 5% that somehow even in our heads we're kind of trapped in that. Can you take us through that it's only 5% karma?
So, when you look at the human DNA, it carries information about how our journey is going to look like. And we did not come here to suffer. We came here to create. However, everything that's going on in life due to our childhood memories, our programs and our fetal trauma, we put it in the box of karma. Only 5% of our entire life script is based on our karmic incompletions. Right? So we have some karmic sanskars that we bring along. So let's say, for example, if I died as a robber in a past lifetime, I will be born with the sanskar of robbing in this lifetime, stealing. However, my soul has the awareness not to choose that, and I could choose a better path. Like if you look at the life of Valmiki, how he transitioned in one lifetime. So only 5% is where we are carrying our blueprint of our karma. But because we are not told about this, every suffering where we don't have a grip over, we try to put it in the karmic box because we choose to be victims of our reality.
So 92% is free will, basically.
92% is free will. However, even that free will is clouded with memories from early childhood or fetal trauma.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I would say it's not really our fault that we are not aware. But then self-awareness is the best gift you can give yourself, to recognize that it's only 5% that I came here to suffer. 92% I came here to create a better reality for myself.
Okay. So if I look at it, basically 3% is my genes, 5% is my karma. Then I have some part of my womb trauma as well. Then the kind of family I'm born in, I don't know what kind of parents I have. So accordingly, my conditioning would differ. That would also leave an imprint in me. And I think typically, we get this kind of awareness maybe by the time we turn 21, like in our 20s, right? That's the time then we realize that, okay, it's in my hands to choose, I feel, right? So do you think it's too late by then? Because we have already, it's like, there's a cycle and then there's overlapping of cycles of karma and genes and conditioning and womb trauma. It's too much.
It's too much. And you're saying at 21 we become aware, we don't become aware. Self-awareness is a journey that you choose.
That's
right.
That's true.
Automatically awareness doesn't just come to you, right? And the game of this entire life, or the rule of this thing is, you only find awareness through the darkness. So every time life is pushing you down, giving you a breakdown, giving you like a problem, your job is to look for the light in the darkness. And that's when you find the awareness. So, the idea that there's so much overlapping is a very complicated idea, but that's the reality because we are wrapped up. And this journey is like peeling off the layers of all the wrappings that we've done. And deep down, underneath those layers is your beautiful soul that is indestructible, undestroyable, untouchable, and it's so pure with white light. So it's a very funny game. I feel you come here as white light, and life and your environment wraps you up with all the darkness, and your job is now to peel the darkness to go back to the light.
Yeah, that's right.
And somewhere in between comes karma as a layer.
Yeah. Tell me, since you are a quantum physics, you hold PhD in that, tell me from quantum physics perspective, what is past life regression?
So, the first thumb rule of thermodynamics that states energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Right? And our soul is pure conscious energy. So, there's no destruction of this energy, there's no creation. It always was, it always will be. So, when you understand it from this perspective, we don't die, we are not born. So, we're just transitioning through timelines, through time, space and dimension, through a matrix. Right? Now, it's my responsibility to take care of certain amount of energy that I will keep it into motion. Right? So our emotions are energy in motion. And when I don't give space to myself in a lifetime to process these energies and I trap them and stagnate them, then it becomes my responsibility to come back and rebirth in another time, another space, another dimension to put the trapped energy back into motion.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Right? Like, for example, let's say I was born in this lifetime and in my name, I was given about 10 kgs of energy, and my job in this lifetime is I'm going to keep this 10 kg energy constantly in motion. I'm not going to stagnate it. How do we stagnate emotions? With unforgiveness, with carrying anger, with not letting go of things that happened in the past. We hold on to stuff. That means we are holding on to energy. Okay. Now, when this held energy is stored in our cellular memories, it goes back as an imprint in my soul as stagnated energy. So now, my job was to keep it in motion, because energy is meant to be in motion. But now I've trapped so much energy of the universe, and my soul has come through. So now it's my prerogative to go back and put that energy back into motion by living the same story again.
So where exactly is our memory stored? Because, some people say that all your lifetimes are stored in your subconscious. Then we also say that it's in our cellular memory, in our microbiome. Where exactly do we access
So it's really interesting. There is one of the principles of hermetics that governs the principles of the universe, which is called the law of correspondence, which states as above, so below, as within, so without, which also states that everything in the universe is self-similar by nature. So that means the memories that I'm storing in my cellular memories or in my unconscious and subconscious are also stored in the Akashic records in the universe somewhere out there. It's self-similar, it's reflecting. Everything in the universe is reflecting.
Okay.
So because it's there in the Akashic library, it's also reflecting upon my DNA in the now moment, right? And that shows up in my DNA, and the same memory then shows up in my cellular memory, and the same memory then shows up in my unconscious, my subconscious, and becomes my behavior patterns. So it's so many layers.
It's like a light bulb and sitting,
it's exactly like, have you seen this mirror where there are many mirrors, and when I see my reflection, I'm seeing so many parts of me, but they're all similar. So our memories are exactly like that. They're repeating patterns. So it's kind of spooky and crazy to even understand it from a quantum physics perspective, because then it's an ongoing journey and so many layers to peel off.
Dr. Ramon, this has been, what should I say? I'm just like mind blown at every answer that you gave. Our crew members are like absolutely mind blown, and I think this is one of the first times in our podcast we have done so many, but first time that we are like, oh my God, at everything that you have said, like literally in awe of it. And I think it is also one of those podcasts where we leave this room with a bit more honor for ourselves and a bit more of self-love and compassion towards ourselves. This is personally, I think definitely it has touched all of us somewhere, and it would make that change within us. So thank you so much. I mean, I would love to take this conversation even longer because I think the topic is so exciting, but big gratitude to you for opening your heart and opening all the knowledge that you have with us. And I really hope that anyone who listens to this feels the same way, the way we felt all throughout this conversation. So thank you so much for doing this with us, and just more and more power to you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think I loved every bit of it too.
And for everyone who's watched this podcast, please don't forget to subscribe our channel. And if you think that, you know someone who might find their answers through this episode, please don't forget to share it with them. And we will keep coming back with more such exciting topics. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.